Now, this presidential outcome leaves many wondering about future policies and what's in store. So as far as farmers and ranchers are concerned, we get a chance to talk to one of the leaders in policy, Steve Nelson, here now. Listen to this interview.
Nebraska's agriculture really heavily relying on agriculture. And as far as Steve Nelson here representing Farm Bureau, let's talk about this. So woke up this morning, found out it's President-elect Donald Trump. What's your initial reaction to
that? I think that this is a good result from a farmer and rancher perspective, for our members' perspective. I think some of the differences are mostly related to regulations and all the regulations that affect farmers and ranchers and how we grow food for people around our state, nation, and world. I think that Donald Trump's been pretty clear that he wants to reduce regulations. He's made the comment that he would repeal WOTUS, the Waters of the U.S. Rules, if he were elected. So I'm going to make sure that if I can, to hold him to that. I think.
Well,
that
and
would be a
you
good
were
thing.
recently named on the Ag Advisory, committee for Donald
Sure.
Trump, right? So you kind of do have that influence. Is that your number one then? Is the regulations, and then what else do you want to make sure you make clear?
Well, I think
to Trump?
Obviously regulation is very important, and I think that's where a big difference between the candidates. One thing that was similar between the candidates were their positions on trade, and neither were very positive towards trade. I think that's something we need to work on, because we know trade is very important to the state of Nebraska, to our agriculture. It's important to agriculture all across the country. About $378 million of benefit in TPP that's being proposed. So lots of important things to work on there. So that's something that we will be working on.
Now, also, there's those issues, but then we're keeping an eye on the power in the House and Senate too. Have you been watching that too? What are your thoughts there? Republicans are said, have control then, but is that going to make a difference for you think, and farmers and ranchers?
Sure. It's hard to say because we've had gridlock really in about every circumstance, and certainly the Republicans aren't united on every issue either, and they're moderate Republicans, they're some very conservative Republicans, and so I'm not sure that that's necessarily helpful. I'm not sure that much has changed. Certainly if we would have seen a flip in the Senate, that could be different, but I think what it boils down to is we have a lot of work to do.
Farm bill included, push that through hopefully.
Right.
Too.
And as the earlier piece that you had on talked about, the discussions have already begun on Farm Bill. At American Farm Bureau, we have a task force that's been working on the Farm Bill. We'll have a lot of policy discussion as we move forward here this year and then throughout the upcoming year. And so that will be another issue that we'll have to work very hard with the new administration as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and taking time to be here with us. Steve Nelson, representing Farm Bureau. Also go to our website if you have questions as well. We'll post this interview right there for you. We're back in a moment.
Later, learning through livestock judging. We meet our Farm Youth of the Month later in the program. Weather is up next.